Welcome back to the Adaptive Athlete Podcast, the place for hearing stories of adaptive athletes in the CrossFit space and beyond. I'm your host, Matt Hotho. On today's episode, we're talking with Lauren Sall. In 2018, Lauren suffered a massive stroke and had to relearn how to be an athlete. She's run a half marathon, she started doing adaptive CrossFit, and has proven that she can overcome a lot. Now, we just hopped right into this conversation, so in a minute, you're just going to hear the start of our conversation with me asking her about that stroke and what happened in those first few hours when she realized that she had to get to the hospital and get to the hospital fast. Check it out. I saw all those news stories about just kind of, man, like how bad the stroke was. I mean, just truly like how crazy that was. And a few doctors saying like, man, like it feels like if you hadn't been a CrossFitter, like if you hadn't been as fit as you were, the outcome could have been very different.
I mean, of course, I have a different memory of the whole situation, but we can. So, of course, I was in college, like I said, and I woke up like I had done my competition. So my stroke was June. It's June right now. My stroke was December 6th, 2018, and I had done a competition I think 3 days before that, just a couple days. And then I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like I had to go to the bathroom, kind of sick. Okay, whatever. Go to the bathroom. Can't walk there. So I'm like, what the heck? Like I keep falling into the wall.
Mm-hmm. Are you just really tired? Are you sleepwalking?
I was like, maybe I just got, like I am really tired, dizzy, fell, hit the wall, got a concussion. I'm fine. It's fine. Make it to the bathroom, like holding onto the wall, the counter, trying to figure this out. I have no idea what's going on. It's the middle of the night and I'm 21 and I was like, what the heck? So anyway, I make it back to my bedroom and I fell again. And this time I was trying to like push off the floor and I realized I couldn't do it. I thought I did have like a back injury at the time, like my lower back. It was I don't know, probably just from the competition. So I thought that was it, but I had to like rock myself up off the floor and like get the momentum to get on my hands and knees and crawl to my bed.
Yeah.
And then, don't recommend being like, oh, you know what? I probably just got a concussion or I'm tired. I'm going to go back to bed for hours.
Wow.
Probably like 5 to 6 hours that I went back to sleep.
Before you called your sister?
Yes. Wow. So then I woke up because I had to go to work and I worked at a physical therapy office because that's what I wanted to do. And then I couldn't get dressed or like comprehend what anything was. Like it was really, really strange. Like I couldn't comprehend why I was brushed, like what a toothbrush was basically when I was like trying to get ready. So it wasn't just my movements. Like I did feel very confused at the time. Yeah. And then obviously my motor function wasn't working. So I was completely unable to get dressed by myself. I couldn't put a shirt on. What the heck? Why can't I hang on to this shirt to put on? It keeps dropping on the floor. And then I was like, I didn't even really think anything was wrong. I just had to go to work. So I was like, I'm going to call my sister so that she can at least help me so I can not be late to my job. Was very late to that shift. Did not make it at all.
Demerits across the board.
So
jeez.
I FaceTimed her and so I was studying like health science at the time. So I knew some things, had ideas of, what happens to you. So she came or she was on FaceTime. I FaceTimed her luckily. And she was like, Lauren, why is your speech so slurry right now? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, and why is your face so saggy? And I was like,
oh, thank God you FaceTimed her.
I know. I think about that too. If I would have just called her, I mean, she would have known something was up, I think, but like she noticed that and she's like, I'm going to come over. I'll help you. We'll figure this out. We'll see what's happening. And so she pretty much saved my life. My sister did. And so I'm kind of stubborn. I'm competitive. Like, it keeps me going in CrossFit. Everything's a challenge. I like to do it. So we got me dressed, and we were going to drive to the hospital just to see what was going on. I didn't think it was that serious. My sister was like, something's happening, but we're not quite sure. So we're not going to call anyone yet. So she's like, whatever you do not. Well, actually, she said that she was trying to put my coat on me because it's like winter. She kept saying, Lauren, lift up your arm and put it in your coat. And I was like, I am. She's like, no, you're not.
Oh,
I'm like, yes, I am. She's like, no, you're not. So I don't really remember that part, but I do remember when she's like, Lauren, whatever you do not go downstairs, because I live on a 3rd floor apartment. She's like, I'm going to take you with me, because she had to like grab my insurance cards, like all the things. And then, I was like, oh, well, bet I won't. I'm going to go down the stairs. So somehow we made it down 3 flights of stairs, into the car. Then that's when things started kind of speeding up.
Yeah.
I mean, the average person would argue that this whole situation was kind of wild, but that was pretty uneventful to me. Get in the car, immediately feel sick. It's definitely the motion, half my brain is disintegrated at this point, essentially. And so I start like having to throw up. So we pull over. I'm getting sick on the side of the road. That's when she was like, no, we're not doing this. Something is wrong. So she called the ambulance, and then they picked me up off the side of the road, and we're doing all the neuro tests. Like, raise your hands. And I was like, I am, but it wasn't there. And then they got on the phone like immediately, as from what I remember, is they're like, stick your tongue out, all the things, raise your eyebrows, like only ones going up. And then my smile was dead giveaway. So I remember immediately after like 2 of the tests, they look at each other and they're like, the name of the hospital, they're like, Butterworth, now. And then my sister was like, okay. So they get on the phone, and I'm just in the back, like hanging out. I have no idea what's going on. These 2 men are freaking out. We have a 21-year-old code stroke coming in. And I was like, say that again.
And you were 21 at the time? They're saying we have a 21-year-old who's got a stroke. Like massive. Jeez.
And so I was just, confused as one would be.
Yeah. I mean, because when you think of a stroke, you think of someone who's quite a bit older.
Yeah. Or unhealthy.
Yeah, that too.
Because I, was keeping track of what I ate.
Yeah.
Working out basically every day.
Wow. Okay, so you get an ambulance. I assume your sister follows you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then
as closely as she could.
But like from everything that I've seen online, like you're in the ICU for a while. You're like, it was really, really serious.
It was really serious.
What do you remember next?
I remember getting to the ER and just being on like the stretcher. And I remember everything was moving so fast. People were yelling. They were throwing me in machines, like so fast. And I remember then a doctor, my neurosurgeon at the time, came up, stood, like was over me. I remember I could still, when I close my eyes, if I want to visualize it, I can. Him just over the stretcher, gurney, whatever, the bed. And he's like, so you're having a massive stroke. Like you have a couple clots. It wasn't just one in your right middle cerebral artery. So, and he's like, I'm going to go in your femoral artery in your leg, make a small incision, go up through your vena cava into your brain and pull the clots out. Is that okay? And I was like, I have no idea I have no idea what that means, but yeah, you're the professional. If that's what it takes,
Yeah.
we'll do that. It was a big deal because it had been so long
Yeah.
that it was so much pressure. So think of like
Yeah.
a clog in like any pipe or something. So if it can't go for so long, then things just building up behind it. So that was like a warning to my parents from him. That was like, yeah, it's gonna,
Oh, what's
I'm
going to
gonna do
happen when we
this,
release this
but
pressure?
yeah, or if it popped, then it
Yeah.
would be like a brain
Oh
bleed.
my God. So there's so much risk involved. And this is still all in like the first 24 hours.
Oh my
But
gosh. Yeah. So a timeline, I guess, is from when I got in the ER. I think I was but when I got in the ambulance, the hospital is about 25 minutes away from my apartment at the time. I think I was basically being prepped for surgery within like 19
wow.
because they were moving so fast.
That's
At
insane.
least that's what I've heard because I wasn't all there. But
Yeah. And then, I mean, you're in ICU, you're intubated, I would assume, like you're
yeah, so
completely just, yeah.
Wasn't really intubated. Oh, yeah. Not at first, but then I developed a couple pulmonary embolisms because I wasn't moving,
Okay.
things were going terribly wrong. And then my brain, like any injury, swelled up, which is where I also remember this really vividly. So I think it was a couple days in, and apparently, like doctors said, maybe the third or fourth day after this injury is when things can go really wrong, but we're going to kind of push through it. But on that day, so maybe it was like 72 hours, it gets kind of, your brain reacts to the stress and swells.
Okay.
And that's when there's not room for it to go. Like if you sprain your ankle, there's room to swell. But if your brain swells, there's nowhere to go. So then they have to do a cranie and take a piece of your skull out so that it goes. I did not have to do it because my surgeon was fighting for me. He's like, she's healthy.
Wow.
I think she's going to pull through this one. I'm not going to do it yet. We're going to wait and see. Which obviously took a lot of trust from my parents just to see, but I would have had a slower recovery. Probably that's what they said.
Well, I mean, that's major
lose
surgery.
my hair.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
So I was intubated after that, and I had like the pulmonary embolisms because, of course, I couldn't really breathe on my own. So I think a couple days I was intubated for. Honestly, I'm not sure because I was heavily sedated during that time. But yeah, so, but also they did have to like talk to my parents and tell them the realities of, yeah, this, you're going to have to make decisions. She's a donor. Like you should make plans for the worst possible outcome. So my parents had to sit there and plan my funeral.
Yeah, I want to ask about that. I mean, did they tell you afterwards? Did you get to say, not the right call? That's not what I would have gone for. Or,
I was curious.
Yeah.
It took them a long time to talk about it. Of course, at the time I was not a big deal. But
sorry, of course. Yeah.
Now I'm a parent and I'm like, yeah, wouldn't really laugh at that one. But yeah, they did everything, planned everything. And I was finally like, Mom, I want to see what my casket looked like. She finally showed me.
And?
It was good.
Okay.
I mean,
I mean, we don't get this
can't
chance to be on this side of it, right? Like you never get to ask like, hey, what's my casket going to look like?
Now my sister and I joke about it. She's like, new funeral plan. I want to have a DJ and a walk-in song, or like we'll make jokes about it because.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something about coming so close to death, right?
I was like, Mom, these kind of flowers are not allowed in my funeral. If this happens again, God forbid, I'm going to change a few things.
Did it change the way that you and your parents also talk about death? Like their deaths?
Not really. I don't think. I mean, I don't think it did for me, except I'm like interested in it. Is that weird? I don't know.
No.
But
Well, I work at church. So, I mean, I think about death,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, I would, if I ever go back to school, um, I would want to be a mortician
Hmm.
and like embalm or plan funeral, like do them, because I think I'm not disconnected where I wouldn't connect with families, but I'm disconnected from like those affecting my own life and emotions. I think the stroke did that to me because I couldn't take it too seriously. I mean, I wanted to get out there and do things. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe one day. I don't know.
All right. Well, you also mentioned being a stroke mentor and a
Yes.
public speaker. You want to tell me a little bit about
Mm-hmm.
that? Kind of those sort of possible like post.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know, like later in life kind of things, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Who knows what could happen? But yeah, so after my stroke and after my rehab stay, um, my rehabilitation hospital does some events and they have like patients. It really all started when they do a lot of media. And so they like heard about me, the media guy did. And so we started doing like pictures of my therapy, videos of me in therapy, an interview with me in the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then an interview with me at the very end. And then there was such a large difference, of course. And then after that, I started like kind of take after that, at like the end, I started taking off on running, CrossFit. So
Yeah.
it kind of snowballed into like, hey, we want you to come back and share all this stuff at this event that we're doing. Um, it's like a fundraiser. So you are going to be speaking to donors. There was like 500 people there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of things are on the line basically, and I enjoyed it. And so
Yeah.
I signed up and I was like, sure. So that's kind of what started it. I just went up there and shared my story, the hospital, like how they just absolutely changed my life and so many others if they keep, you know, getting what they're getting. We need to encourage this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I thought it was really fun and it was pretty successful. So after that one, I got a Facebook message from someone I'd never even heard of before. And was like, hey, I saw your video from the news outlet on Facebook. Would you like to come speak at this stroke event at our hospital? We're starting a new program for stroke awareness or something. And she was like, we'll pay you like $1,000. And I was like, wait, so I couldn't do this?
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of where I was like, okay, that'd be fun. So
yeah.
I guess, I don't know, in the future, not necessarily like motivational,
Sure.
but kind of like.
Well, I think it's like, to sort of use a churchy term, right? It's like witnessing to the fact that like,
Yeah.
you went through this and you came out the other side of it because
and I think people have that potential in them.
Exactly.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
And I mean, I tell people all the time. So I'll talk to people at my hospital that I work at now, which is my same rehab hospital. For example, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3, I was talking to the patient who is staying in my old room. Because I was wearing a t-shirt that it was like Friday, so you don't have to wear scrubs or anything. And it said, I'm a stroke survivor. What's your superhero? So we started talking about it. And I talked to him for probably like 45 minutes about just how he is going to like do what it takes because he wants to get back to music and he doesn't know how he's going to play his guitar again.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of talking to him. I'm like, I tell everyone that I talk to that are in these situations, like, you do have a choice as far, I mean, given the circumstances, but you don't have a choice to do everything, but you do have a choice to how you're going to react to these situations. So I could have chose to let it bum my life out and just lay and be like, oh, I'm never going to go to CrossFit. So I could have let it ruin me, could have let it ruin what I love and not graduated college, not done any of the things. But so I told him, I'm like, you can choose to let it ruin you or change what you're going to do in the future and motivate you. So like I told him, I said, yeah, absolutely. I'm a completely different person than I was before the stroke, but I think I'm 100 times better in several ways. So I think that I try to tell people you can use your injuries, you know, disabilities, I guess, really to encourage you. It's kind of like a competition to me. I'm sure other athletes listening or whatever will think the same thing. You know, I feel like we all have kind of a similar idea. Doctor said I wasn't going to graduate college, walk, have kids. So I made a competition to do all of those things and then more.
Yeah. I think that's that funny thing that Kevin Ogar says to us, right? Of like, we're here to tell, you know, the doctors who said we couldn't, you know, you were wrong, basically, right?
Yeah,
that sometimes that's a driving motivation, whether it's for that spinal cord injury person, someone like yourself, or someone who was born congenitally with something that, so like for CP, it's seen as a pediatric disease, right? Or a pediatric disorder, right? So when we become adults with CP, it's like healthcare professionals just go, well, you'll just be using a walker when you're 50, you know, like you're just gonna have premature aging. And that kind of just hit me when I was like 30 and like, you know,
it doesn't have to be that
It doesn't
way.
have
That's
to be that
how
story.
I was kind of thinking of it too. I mean, they told me all these things and sure, that might have happened, but I wasn't going to let them happen because I wanted my life to be different than that. And so I was going to do anything in my power to change it.
Yeah. Well, then let's change the conversation on that note to talk about some of the stuff that you did after your stroke. Yeah. So a half marathon.
I ran a half marathon. Yeah. So let's see, how many months was that? I ran a half marathon about 10 months.
Okay.
9. I ran a half marathon 9 months after my stroke. And I hated running before. Typical CrossFitter.
Well, you're a CrossFitter.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything over like a 200. I'm out.
Done.
I'm out.
How many 200s is a half marathon?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think it'd be way too many. I don't think I want to do the math. But yeah, so.
Let's shift to some of the CrossFit stuff and the adaptive CrossFit stuff.
Okay.
So real quick, are you a CrossFit coach? Are you a certified like level 1 or level 2 or?
No, I'm not. I mean, I would think that would be fun to do. I would love to get involved with like adaptive CrossFit at maybe my hospital. Maybe actually at my old gym, they had my hospital come in with like some of the recreational therapists and like the adaptive sports program people. And we had an adaptive workout with some of the people from the hospital that could like come and do outings. So that was actually the first time I saw people in a chair rowing, like how they take the thing off and they sit with a box and do that, or shuttle runs on a wheelchair and turning so fast that I can't even fathom it, which is just amazing to me. So that was the first time I really saw it. And I thought it was so cool how it wasn't just me that was dealing with this stuff, but it was a really whole community. And so I would love to bring it to my hospital. I was going to someone wanted to talk to me about it too. So I don't know, maybe that will happen too.
Yeah, there you go. Because we have the lived experience of it to begin thinking just that like adapting is different than scaling. So we know
absolutely.
So we know that you can actually give somebody a really good stimulus of intensity and good movement with functional movements just by doing different things, adapting those movements.
Yes, I feel like a lot of the time people, like my coaches are incredible, but like when I don't know, maybe like in the beginning, they were more so trying to scale workouts for me instead of adapt things to my abilities. So I would kind of come up with my own things. For example, it's better now, but it was really hard for me to, alternate a dumbbell
Yeah.
with a weak hand that doesn't have a ton of coordination, or my thumb like doesn't really work that great. So I just kind of, obviously for a while I'm going to do the same stimulus instead of a lighter weight. We're doing the same, but I'm going to do all of them on one side and then, or half on one side and half on the other kind of thing. Which I guess isn't really adapting, but I was learning how to adapt things for my new abilities, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it still is a process too. Like when things get hard, or maybe my double unders or whatever are feeling crappy one day.
Double unders always feel crappy.
Yes, good point.
Yeah,
good point.
At least for neuro, for me, I mean, it's just like I think I'm coordinated.
And I think I am too until I saw a video and I was like, oh my gosh, my left wrist doesn't move. That looks so interesting. Yeah. So like on days like that, I kind of think about the beginning. I know that you had sent me that question on Facebook, but I don't know. I feel like even now learning those things is really valid and takes time. And you got to remember, maybe things aren't feeling so well, but there was a day in a rehab hospital that I couldn't even figure out how to hold a jump rope, let alone do multiple sets of double unders. So
for sure. Alex Zirkenbach, do you know him from the Adaptive Training Academy? He posted a video on Instagram the other day, and the first clip in the video was me trying to do double unders like 7 years ago. Just a big, huge hop, pulling my knees up and spinning the rope twice.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, where'd you find this? He's like, you literally sent it to me 7 years ago. I was like, that's insane. Because I can string together like 10 dubs now, and it's just like, okay, it's just cool to see the development, right? That we can adapt our brains. I mean, literally both of our brains are very good at neuroplasticity, right? Making up for things that have gone sideways. What are a couple of the ways that your impairment kind of does show up, right?
Yeah, so this is really funny, and I'm going to make him listen to this video or this podcast. It's a video right now, but I'm going to make him listen to this podcast because one of the coaches at my gym, when I first came back, well, it wasn't even when I first came back, but when I came back after a while, this was like a new gym I changed. So where I'm at now was newer than or is more recent. I didn't go right there after my stroke.
Okay.
But I was doing pull-ups, and he like asked another coach, he's like, why is Lauren doing pull-ups like she had a stroke? And then the coach was like, because she did. So, yeah, that's funny. Now I laugh. I'm like, yeah. Good observation.
Hey, that is seeing. That is seeing and correcting.
The coach was paying attention.
Yes. So it impacts you on pull-ups, right? I mean, you clearly probably don't have as much grip strength and pulling strength.
Yeah, it's my grip strength. And so like the muscles in my thumb, like that bring it in and out kind of, they don't work at all.
Okay.
So trying to do this
isn't going to happen.
I'm trying to right now.
Yeah.
And it's just...
No,
nothing.
I saw as your hand was kind of moved. So
I have some spasticity. Yeah. And my pinky is always just like
out to the side.
And about.
Yeah.
In pictures, it's like it wants to go.
Do you find that you're, so I'm just going to connect with you here as someone who also has stroke induced spasticity, but do you find that like your right arm or your left arm hangs like kind of at like 90 degrees a lot of the time, or kind of wants to pull in towards your body? And then do you find that
I
gets
feel like
your
I
tricep?
Walk around kind of.
Do you find that your tricep gets smoked quicker?
Yeah. And in my coordination too, like with a dumbbell overhead is really difficult. And I can't really tell where it is overhead and if I'm locked out or not.
Yep.
So we did a workout a couple of weeks ago that was like overhead squats and running, but so I kept having to like look up at my arm, like I feel like I'm like twisted sideways. And then I would look, nope, still good. But then there would be points, of course, where mostly my left arm and hand give me issues, but
Yeah. So this is moments when I wish that like CrossFit did have mirrors sometimes so that I just kind of see
right.
where that arm is at in space.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's totally locked out. And coach goes, nope. Like, thank God WheelWOD gives us movement exemptions, right? Or
Yeah,
range of
like
motion exemptions.
in the games at the games last year when we did ring dips, at least in my division, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people did ring dips. It was like, I don't know the last time I did a ring dip. And also, I can't really lock out my arm all the way.
Yeah.
And Kevin was like, what happened to you? I'm like, stroke. He's like, we'll look at your right arm only.
Yeah. Thank God for that, right?
Yeah, because people might look at that and say, no rep, you can't do this, but it is a rep for me, I guess. It's technically not range of motion, I suppose, but like awareness. I have no idea.
Well, I would say, I mean, you've been living with this for 8 years at this point, 7 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've been living with it something similar for like 39. It's like it does feel to me like it's not even a range of motion thing. It's like that tricep is just so tight that the arm isn't going to let you get all of that motion out.
I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels weird.
Yeah. So when you were talking about, Kevin said, we'll just judge your right arm. For people who maybe aren't as familiar with competitive CrossFit, that's something or competitive adaptive CrossFit, that's something that WheelWOD puts in there for us so that if people like me or Lauren have a side of our body that can't lock out, especially in an overhead movement or a ring dip movement, we can get judged on the side that can lock out so that we're not just getting no reps for something we literally cannot fix in competition.
I wish I could fix it, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, from now on, I'll keep judging my right arm.
Right.
But the effort is there for sure.
Yes, 100%. So you ended up going back into CrossFit, and I saw that you did the 2023 games, or the 2023 Raleigh games, and placed second in Raleigh.
Yes, that was like my first adaptive competition.
Mine too.
So after my stroke, I went back to CrossFit, and that was like the first year that they had announced adaptive, and it just went right over my head because I didn't even think I was in the category. I was like, that's cool, but not going to be for me. And then I looked into it after people were like my parents were like, no, you should look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I am adaptive.
Yeah. I
guess I never kind of thought of myself that way. Maybe other like acquired injury people would relate to that, but like I never was thinking that, oh yeah, I'm part of this community now. And it's just, no matter when it happens or how or whatever, I feel like that's the beauty of the community is as soon as it does and you're ready to kind of come back there waiting and everyone's so welcoming. Those first games where I met so many people, I was kind of, nervous at first, but like a lot of people knew each other. I didn't, I was just kind of showing up, saw people on social media like that I recognized, but yeah, I feel like I left with a lot of friends, like community members.
Yeah. And wasn't it an amazing test, I think? Like to get 4 days worth of programming.
Oh my gosh, it was so hard.
I know, but like so honoring too, that they would be like, we think you guys can do 12 workouts.
Can do all this stuff.
Yes.
And I was like, are we sure we can?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I mean, especially like swimming. I'm not a good swimmer.
Okay.
I mean, I could swim if my life depended on it. Of course, I could probably save myself. Like if I fell in the lake or something. But like, competitive like swimming labs.
Yeah.
Not very good. And of course my hand, like I can't like cup my hand to swim. So I was just like flopping around. Yeah. But I remember when they announced that swim workout, I was like, should I be here? And then, the funny thing is when I got there and started watching, because our heat was a little bit later, I started to watch people go and I'm like, holy crap, like people not necessarily get over this stuff, but people work so hard to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can do it, then I'm going to use what I have and do it too.
Yeah.
So I think, of course, especially in all the games, competitions, adaptive stuff I've been a part of, it's one of the coolest parts is watching other people in your same community, maybe even in your same division. They're just so inspiring to you, even though like some people are like, oh, but you're doing the same thing. No, everyone's amazing. I can't even fathom the other divisions that I'm not in. Like
Mm-hmm.
incredible people doing incredible things.
Yes.
I think that's my motto for adaptive CrossFit.
That's right. That's right. And when you just think about, you're right though, all the other divisions, like it does put you in perspective. It gives you perspective that like, yeah, we're all fighting something. But man, we're all like so excited to have this opportunity, and we're so
Mm-hmm.
driven to compete, to push ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think,
go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of people will also look at adaptive CrossFit and maybe aren't aware. They're like, this was said to me once. I was talking about how I qualified for the games last year, and people had questions, of course. They're like so
in your
how's
box, like in your affiliate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't know, so I'm never angry. I'm like, we can talk about it. I'm like, yeah, so they'll give us the same stimulus. It will probably look different than what you guys are all used to. Here are some examples. Like, instead of handstand walking,
Mm-hmm.
people in chairs are gonna get the same stimulus by doing, like a wheelie all the way down and back.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of thing. And then this individual was like, oh, so it's just like scaled? I was like, no.
No.
That conversation didn't, I obviously was like, no.
Yeah.
Actually, we're doing muscle ups, we're doing rope climbs, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not scaled. I love that your community talks about it. One thing that I love that my community does is my coach, it makes me uncomfortable sometimes, but he'll refer to me as like an elite athlete. And I'm like, I guess like, I downplay myself for sure.
Yeah,
right?
I have a coach like that too.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. But like I was doing a workout once and someone was like, oh, they moved well. And Lauren actually did too. And he's like, well, she is a games athlete.
Yes.
So.
And so then those are the days where I'm like, oh, I didn't really want to go hard on this workout, but now I'm going to have to go hard on this workout.
I know. Or when like new people come, I'm like wearing one of the shirts you got. Oh boy.
Yes.
I gotta do something good today.
Were your parents at the 23 games?
No.
So when they were at the 2024 games, I know we were joking we were talking about 45 minutes ago about planning a funeral, right? Like when they were, what was that like for them to see you succeed at the 2024 games? I know you came in fourth, which I know may not have been your goal where you wanted to be.
No, I wanted the podium.
Same.
That was my goal, but I think now I have room to grow and I'm more aware that it gets more competitive every year and it's fun, but it also gives me an edge to every year push a little harder.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did your parents feel? Yeah.
Probably emotional. They were very proud of me. They thought it was amazing. Yeah. And that's why they came out to that one, because they couldn't miss it. They didn't want to. But yeah, I think they were just really proud, kind of like blown away. Mm-hmm. We had a great time. We all stayed together. Very supportive. My mom's a physical therapist assistant. So she brought like her Theragun, like stuff to like scrape my muscles out, like. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
For everyone. Yeah. And I'm so sad because I can't go this year. So
do you have any goals then that you're working on in this year?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to share any of them?
I want to get stronger. Of course, my strength is one of the better things I have. So I can kind of play off of that. Gymnastics too. So I want to get better at them so that I can use that to my advantage. I would love to tie my pre-stroke 1 rep maxes. So like doing some strength cycles, like eating more. I've been really cautious about food, protein, using this as a time to grow, gymnastics, but also I'm not really like a good sprinter. So short, fast workouts are not my thing. So I could do like longer, it's not slow, but lower intensity workouts forever. Like give me like a 30-minute AMRAP. We'll do it.
Yeah.
But the second you show me like that workout in semis that we just had with ours with shuttle runs and wall balls and max chest to bar.
Yeah.
Holy moly, my life flashed before my eyes in that one. Like you got to sprint every single round. So once again, I knew I'm not that great at those things. Cool. Use it as a challenge. They say I'm not going to be good at sprinting. I'm going to be good at sprinting by next year.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We'll do it. Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if you ever heard the story of Matt Frazier when he lost a sprint event in the 2016 games. He spent the next year training with a middle school track team. And he came back the next year and won the sprint event. And that was the year that he like started his reign, basically, of like 5 straight wins.
Yeah,
and he tells it in the documentary. I'm not saying you're Matt Frazier. I'm just saying that like that vibe though of like I'm gonna go work on sprinting, and like that's a great mindset.
A good challenge, of course. That's how my whole story I feel like is based. So it's gonna be fun. I am looking forward to kind of just doing the work instead of worrying about competition's a whole different ball game. You got to be good at everything. I am kind of looking forward to focusing on a couple things and giving them my all while keeping my fitness all around pretty good.
All right, so can we jump to a lightning round? It'll be a little quick, but can we go to a lightning round? All right.
Yeah.
Would you rather 150 wall balls or 150 burpees?
Burpees.
Really?
Oh my gosh, that was the easiest answer. Easiest question.
How long do you think 150 burpees would take you?
Well, see, I kind of know, because to raise money for last year's games, I said I'll do a burpee for every $1 that is donated to my GoFundMe.
Oh my God.
And it was 1,600 burpees. So I said, like, before the games, I'm going to do that. So I had a couple weeks, so before class, I do like, say, I'm going to do 150 today before we start class or whatever.
Yeah.
Not every day of the week, but so it wasn't as bad as I thought. And wall balls are like my least favorite CrossFit movement.
All right. Well, when you go to the 2026 games, if you do a GoFundMe, I will do a wall ball for every $1 that you raise.
Oh, bless your heart.
Hit me up. You do the burpees, I'll do the wall balls. Well, we'll go for it. All right. What's one thing that your kids do right now that makes you laugh?
Everything. No, they're so funny. Their personalities are starting to come out. Yeah. So they like to just be silly. They like memorize movies, and we'll just randomly start speaking movie language. I'm like, what are you talking about? But they are so funny in their imaginations. So I love that they're getting like their own little personality imagination.
Awesome. All right. If you're training at the gym, what music is playing on Spotify?
If it's sunny outside and I'm in my garage, it's country.
Okay.
But like if I'm at the gym, Big Booty Mix?
I think every gym has a Big Booty Mix.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love those.
Yeah.
I need like 2000s like pop or hip hop. Mm-hmm. Like give me the good stuff, the old stuff. I mean, there's some I can't stand to work out to, like rock emo music.
Yeah.
My gym does. Oh my gosh. If my friend listens to this, it's going to be her fault. She always wants to do emo Thursdays. And I'm like,
no,
I'll put headphones in.
Yeah. Yeah. No. In your Feels Fridays? No. We
tried to get Country Fridays to be a thing.
Oh, there you go.
But people don't like it.
People don't like it. No, they want that rock or they want that booty music, like you were saying. Booty music? I don't even know.
Big booty mix. You're gonna have to look
There
it
it
up
is.
after
All
this.
right. I don't know if I'll really. It's a little too late at night for big booty mix. I think I might have to hit it tomorrow for the 8 a.m.
It's good for cleaning your house.
Is it?
Oh yeah. If you want to get hyped up to like clean your entire house in like 25 minutes, that's a good one.
I will take that piece of advice and I will let you know how that one goes. I will let you know how that one goes. I've got a few projects to tackle.
My sister does it too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. As we wrap up, I got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
If someone listening to this podcast is new to adaptive fitness, what advice would you give them?
I would say kind of a summary of what I've been saying is that it's going to be a challenge, but take it and run with it. Kind of fight it. It's a fight and we can do it. We can all give our all every day. And I think that at the end of it, you're going to be better than before you started. So it might, and that mental piece is there every time, especially for acquired maybe injury people. Especially it's easy to get in your head and say, well, this is where I was before and I can't do this anymore. But I think it's less about that. And this is what I've been thinking about lately in my workouts. I shouldn't think about that because I've come so far. And I think that's what I would like people to come away with is that, like I said, you're going to be different after an injury if that's what happened or any situation. Like it's going to look different, but channel that when you're working out and things get hard. Like my jump rope has writing on the handles and it says the date of my stroke on one handle and another one says for her. So every time I'm like messing up, I'm like, that girl in the bed really wanted to walk and she didn't think she was going to. So I'm going to not get upset when I can't double under and think about that version of myself.
Yeah, because you're giving that version of yourself more than they could have ever thought.
Exactly. And that's what I like to honor, basically.
Yeah. Which probably ties into the last question that I always like to ask on this podcast, which is if you could go back and encourage a younger version of yourself, maybe that version of you in November of 2018, what would you tell her?
Keep going because things are going to happen that you never thought were going to be possible again. And keep fighting every day for things. People are going to tell you can't do it too, but you can really. I've always, been competitive, so I knew when it happened. But also things. Obviously everyone doubts themselves, but I knew I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. My dream job was to be a stay-at-home mom. And I get to do it, which is incredible. But I had a psychologist once tell me, like a post-rehab psychologist, say, like, let's go over your goals. Like, what are some things you want to do? And I was like, I want to be able to change a diaper because at the time I didn't have really great fine motor skills in my left hand. We're going to figure it out. I want to change a diaper. I want to do CrossFit. I want to graduate college. I want to get married. I want to live my life, however that looks. And she's like, well, maybe you should think of some smaller goals so you're not disappointed when they don't happen. And sometimes I think about that in workouts too. And I'm like, that's not an option for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That mindset, this kind of
like, I think a lot of people will say those things to you. And you just kind of gotta say, no, thanks. I'll keep my goals big.
Yeah, that's right. And look at where it gets you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Lauren, thanks so much for being on the podcast. This was so good to talk to you.
Let me know how that cleaning goes.
I will go find the playlist.
It's you got to look up Two Friends. They're like DJs.
Okay. All right.
And they put all the music together.
All
Your
right.
your 8 a.m. class will love it.
We'll see.
I mean, I guess it depends on the
Oh no,
group
they'll
you
love
got,
it. They'll
but-
love it. They'll love
Okay.
it. Yeah, I'll sell it. I'll sell it well. They'll get it. No, but yeah, thanks so much for being on the podcast. This was so much
Yeah,
fun
of
getting to talk
course.
to you. I really enjoyed my conversation with Lauren, and I hope you did too. One thing that stood out to me, and I've heard this in a couple of interviews that I've done with athletes, is the difference in experience between athletes with congenital disorders like myself with cerebral palsy and someone who was able-bodied or had an acquired disorder where they can remember a time before that disability kicked in and what that means for their mindset. Lauren saying things like, man, I really want to get back to hitting 1-rep maxes that I hit before the stroke. It's a really different mindset and something that makes adaptive athletics so unique. Each athlete is in some ways having really different experiences. For me, there's no 1-reps to think of other than the 1-reps that I've hit a couple of years ago and trying to keep working my way up in strength. But for the athletes with acquired disorders, there's this fire within them that I can't sympathize with. I can only empathize with. And it's that idea of I remember what it was like and I really, really want to get back to that and prove to myself that I am strong and capable. And it was really cool to hear Lauren talk about that. And I'm sure there's adaptive athletes listening to this podcast right now who can relate to Lauren's experience. If you enjoyed this conversation, like and subscribe to the podcast, give us a review or comment on our Spotify channel. We would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Matt Hotho. I'll talk to you guys next time.